Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 22, Text 37, Tadarsha Testavagnagni, Mahendra Iva Durjaya, Titikshaya Darikriva, Dar Eva Vishtato Nunam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj Prithvi was so strong and powerful that no one could disobey his orders any more than one could conquer fire itself. He was so strong he was compared to Indra, the king of heaven, whose power is insuperable. On the other hand, Maharaj Prithvi was also as tolerant as the earth, and in fulfilling various desires of human society, he was like heaven himself. Purport. It is the duty of a king to give protection to the citizens and to fulfill their desires. At the same time, the citizens must obey the laws of the state. Maharaj Prithvi maintained all the standards of good government, and he was so invincible that no one could disobey his orders any more than a person could stop heat and light emanating from a fire. He was so strong and powerful that he was compared to the king of heaven, Indra. In this age, modern scientists have been experimenting with nuclear weapons. In the former age, they used to release Brahmastras, but all these Brahmastras and nuclear weapons are insignificant compared to the thunderbolt of the king of heaven. When Indra releases a thunderbolt, even the biggest hills and mountains crack. On the other hand, Maharaj Prithvi was as tolerant as the earth itself, and he fulfilled all the desires of his citizens, just as the torrents of rain from the sky. Without rainfall, it is not possible to fulfill one's various desires on this planet. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Parjanyad Anasambhavaha. Food grains are produced only because rain falls from the sky, and without grains, no one on the earth can be satisfied. Consequently, an unlimited distribution of mercy is compared to the water falling from the clouds. Maharaj Prithvi distributed his mercy incessantly, much like rainfall. In other words, Maharaj Prithvi was softer than a rose flower and harder than a thunderbolt. In this way, he ruled over his kingdom. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jatapada Kamalam Shri Guru and Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Ladita Shri Vishakanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestha Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtita Deshatarine. This is a very nice example we've heard previously. Softer than a rose and harder than a thunderbolt. This is the qualities of Maharaj Prithvi. So unfortunately nowadays, our leaders don't have the power, nor do they have the mercy of Maharaj Prithvi. Therefore, there's so many horrible things going on with the sanction of the government, abortions, cow slaughter, all these things are going on with the government sanctions. So, it's a very pitiful situation. The real solution I described in Thought for the Day today is we have to educate the people in general in the values of Krishna consciousness. So they will, because this is the days of democracy, people go to vote for who they want. You get your choice. You choose who you want to vote for. So unless the people are trained to be Krishna conscious, we're going to get, if the rascals vote, then they're going to vote for rascals, big rascals. So if we want to actually have good government, we have to make the people Krishna conscious. It's a very simple thing. We have to make the general population Krishna conscious. Otherwise, we're not going to have good leaders. So how do we make them Krishna conscious? Well, we have to be ourselves Krishna conscious. Like Rupa Goswami said, Vatsha Vegam Manasakroda Vegam Etanvitam as see, Vatsha Vegam Manasakroda Vegam Shiva Vegam Mudaro Pasta Vegam Etanvitam Yo Vishaheta Dhirat Sarvamipimam Pratipim Shushishyat. One who can conquer mind, words, anger, tongue, belly, and genitals can make the whole world Krishna conscious. So that's what we have to do, my dear devotees. We have to control, beginning with our mind, the sixth sense. Robert was asking me, how is the mind a sense? Because you don't perceive directly with your mind. You can see with your eyes, you can hear with your ears. How does the mind perceive? Well, the mind can manufacture its own thoughts and remember previous experiences that you had, that you sensed with your senses. And keep those images in the mind. You can even invent new things, new fantasies. So the mind can also experience these things. It's like the senses can experience, the mind can also experience. So the first pushing or vegam given by Rupa Goswami is the mind. We have a tendency to have our minds wander in the realm of sense enjoyment, contemplating sense enjoyment in various ways, remembering sense enjoyment, inventing sense enjoyment, contemplating sense enjoyment. So we have to realize that actually better than sense enjoyment is Krishna consciousness. Just think about it, consider it philosophically. What are those senses and what are you? We've said many times, are you seeing through your eyes or your eyes seeing? Are you hearing through your ears or is your ears hearing? We can study by simple psychological analysis. We can understand the self and the sense as two different things. So satisfying the senses is not actually satisfying you. It's like the example Guru Maharaji gave last night in the home program on Hutto. You can polish the cage. If you don't feed the bird within, you'll die. So material sense gratification is simply polishing the cage. That's all it's doing. Polish the cage very nicely. Give the cage all nice facility to look very beautiful, be very nicely decorated, nice, hanging nicely, well clean, no tarsh, kindly, very nicely polished cage. But you've always got to see that poor bird, you see he's dead in the bottom of the cage. So the most important thing is to feed the bird nicely. The second thing is to keep the cage looking nicely. So this we have to understand, this we have to prioritize. My Krishna consciousness goes first. Sense gratification is there. You have to keep the body fit for serving the Lord, but that's always secondary. The primary thing is to bring your mind back to Krishna. Yato yato nishchalati manaschanchalamastabam tataskato nayanyatat atmanyaveshamya. Yes. And wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering, unsteady nature, one must suddenly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. When you find your mind running off into sense gratification, say, okay, mind, now come back. You have to understand, my dear mind, your first business is to be absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Bhajahu re mana Srinanda Nandana Abhaya Charanada Vindave. My dear mind, please now engage yourself in the devotional service of the Divine Son of Nandamana. Our mind wants to think, well, devotional service later on, now let me enjoy thinking about this, thinking about that, let me enjoy a little bit, and then later on we'll think about devotional service. But I can guarantee you, if you pamper your mind in that way, letting it have some sense enjoyment, it's going to keep you entangled more and more and more in the cycle of birth and death. You have to say, okay, mind, let's get serious now. My dear mind, your only business now is to be absorbed in Krishna consciousness. You may have a desire to think about this type of sense gratification or that type of sense gratification. You may have the desire, but let me educate you, my dear mind, that those sort of contemplations will cause you to suffer perpetually in the cycle of birth and death. So, my dear mind, kindly understand you now to bring your mind back to devotional service, back to Krishna. And then you can actually become liberated from all anxieties. Our anxieties are due to misidentification with this body. This body goes through birth, death, old age, and disease. So in any way that you misidentify or think yourself to be this material body, that is your cause of misery. So don't think that by gratifying the sense of your body, you can become happy. Because you're not the body. Again, it's polishing the cage and not feeding the bird. You may give yourself very nice sense enjoyment. Nice food, nice sleeping, nice sex life. You may give yourself so much facility for sense enjoyment, but you haven't taken care of the soul within. The bird within is dying because you haven't fed the bird. So our first business is Krishna consciousness. And then we can have some sense gratification. We have to keep the body fit. You have to eat, proper rest. And you can even have some children. Use sex in the service of Krishna, having some children. So we have to then, but the primary thing is to be fixed in Krishna consciousness. I must remember my one truly own business is to always remember Krishna, never forget him. Krishna Smaranam is my duty. At every minute I must remember Krishna. If I'm forgetting him, I have to notice. I have to be analytical. I have to be I have to analyze myself. Is this thought I'm having right now, is it good for Krishna consciousness, or is it bad for my Krishna consciousness? We have to always be introspective, analyzing our mental patterns. Is this thought of my mind good for my Krishna consciousness? If it is, keep going, my dear mind. You're in good shape. You're on the right track. But if you're thinking about something which is detrimental to your Krishna consciousness, you have to say, okay, mind, you stop it right now. Bring yourself back, bring yourself back, bring yourself back, you see. Don't go wandering off. It's like that Bimalmangala Thakur, you see. Previously, before he became a great saint, he was a Brahmin, a high aristocratic Brahmin, but he was very attracted to a prostitute girlfriend. Of course, they weren't, even any girlfriend is having a list, they're all called prostitutes, whether professional prostitutes or just some loose girl. You see. They're called prostitutes in Vedic culture. So, he was very attached to having sex with this loose girl named Chintamani. So he was very, very attached to having sexual enjoyment with Chintamani. And one night it was raining like anything. And he went to there was a river separating. It was very high, so he grabbed on, what did he grab onto? I forget what he grabbed onto to get across the river. Some kind of a disgusting thing or dangerous thing. He grabbed onto that to get across the river. Then he got to her house. There was a wall around the house, and the gate was locked. And she couldn't hear him knocking on the gate because the rain and the thunder was so loud. So then he decided to crawl over the wall. He grabbed on it. Thought it was a vine. It was a snake. He grabbed a hold of a snake to get over the wall. And finally he got his Chintamani. So now I can have sex enjoyment. Chintamani. Finally. So she was very Krishna conscious girl, actually. Even though she was engaged in this loose activity. She was very Krishna conscious. And she said, oh, my dear Bimalmangala, you're so much attached to having sex enjoyment with this body of mine. Why, if you only had such attachment for Krishna, your life would be successful. So he realized, yes, she's right. I've been running after having sex enjoyment with this girl, but actually, if I just had that much attachment for Krishna as I do for sex enjoyment, that would be the perfection of my life. So then, yes. I'll go to Vrindavan. I'll become renunciate of Vrindavan. So he was on his way to Vrindavan. But from his previous bad habit, of looking after a woman, when can I, there's a beautiful woman, can I have sex with her? Can I enjoy this woman? That habit, you see. He had that habit. He trained himself for so long to be a lusting man, lusting after women, seeing how I can enjoy their bodies. So there was some very chaste woman, actually. She was walking down the road. And she's very beautiful, very, very beautiful woman. So he followed her. His lust overcame his intelligence. His decision to go to Vrindavan and be renounced. His lust overcame his intelligence. And he followed this woman, being lusty. Oh, a beautiful woman. Let me follow her home and see if I can have enjoyment with her. You see. And then he got home. The husband was there. He saw this little aristocratic Brahmin. And he thought, well, how can I serve this great Brahmana person? And he said, can I have sex with your wife? He was a little surprised, but he thought, let me satisfy this woman. Yes, you can have sex with my wife. So he went to the bedroom. The wife was there. I'm willing to have sex with him, and he was totally all excited. Oh, yes. But then he realized, oh, my God, what have I done? What have I done? I was on my way to Vrindavan and renounced everything. He said, Mataji, can you please give me your hairpin? And she said, the hairpin? He said, yes, all right. He took the hairpin and he poked out his eye. Boom, boom, boom. He blinded himself. He said, never again I'll be carried away by lust for a woman. Somehow, with his blindness, he made it to Vrindavan, and he got there, and he was so absorbed in Krishna consciousness that Krishna had personally come to him, actually. He became a very, very pure devotee. So we have to learn this example of Bimalmangala Thakur. Even if we're carried away by lusty desires, we have to learn if I just had that much attachment for Krishna as I do for this sense enjoyment. Here I am so mad at the sense enjoyment If I just had that intensity of a desire for Krishna consciousness, how successful would I be? So we have to take that tendency for sense enjoyment, that desire, I must gratify my senses. As Prabhupada explains in the Krishna book, lust means a desire for sense enjoyment, and love also means sense enjoyment, but not for my senses, but the senses of Krishna. So there's nothing wrong with sense enjoyment if you think, well, then how can I enjoy the Krishna's senses? Instead of trying to enjoy my senses, how can I enjoy Krishna's senses? So the whole Bhagavad Gita is there to train us how to give enjoyment to the senses of Krishna. Tatram pushpam palam tayam yo me bhakta prayastati tadaham bhakti bhaktipada matayat asnami prayatatmanaha. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. So we like to eat. We need senses. We need eating. It's enjoyable, no doubt. It gratifies our senses, but we have to do it in such a way that gratifies the senses of Krishna. So we offer our food first to the Lord and let Him enjoy. And then if He leaves us some remnants, He kind of leaves some remnants of His eating, and He always does. He's very kind. Because if He takes it all away, that's a special mercy also. We put it on the plate and it's all gone. Krishna, that's a very special blessing. I've never seen that happen in my life, but that would be a very special blessing. If Krishna ate it all, there was nothing left. But Krishna is very kind. He leaves it, He takes it, He eats it, He puts it back on the plate. He leaves it there so we can actually get His mercy, His remnants, you see. So in this way, we have to train ourselves how to always satisfy Krishna. This is the great quality of Pittu Maharaj, you see. If he had so much power, just imagine. So we want to be powerful persons, don't we? But if we engage in sense enjoyment, we lose our power. The more we engage in sense enjoyment of our own senses, the more we lose our power, our potency. Gradually just goes away, you see. But if you engage in serving the satisfiedness of Krishna, just like Pittu Maharaj, he became so powerful. What does it say? It says he was compared to Indra, the king of heaven. He is so strong. So we gain strength, we gain power, and also we become very tolerant, very saintly. A tolerant person can accept all offenses against himself. He doesn't think of it, well, you went offensive to me, I will be offensive back. No. He can tolerate all offenses. He takes offense as a great blessing, actually, to remind me of my position. I'm lower and the straw on the street. So in this way, one becomes very, very tolerant. Of course, if one offends a devotee, if one offends another devotee, the devotee is not tolerant. How dare you offend a Vaishnava? He becomes very angry. You offend the holy name, you offend the devotee, the Vaishnava. The devotee is very, very angry. That's proper utilization of anger. You've come you've made an offensive against the Lord's prasadam, against the holy name, against the Vaishnava. So one becomes very strong anger, very powerful, strong anger to chastise such a rascal. You see. But offensive against myself, I take it as a blessing and mercy. So I've been rambling on for a while here. See if anybody has any questions yet. If anyone has any questions, see how many you know. We only got 47 people today. I don't know why. Maybe the Gurmanaji's not speaking. Maybe that's why. He was here today. Okay, let's see if we have any questions coming in yet. So, what can I say? Bhagavad Gita is there to train us. It's actually, as I said before, it's a very, very rare thing. Even those people who come to Krishna consciousness, Manushanam sahasreshu kashid yatati siddhaye yatatam mati siddhanam kashid mati tattataha. Out of thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection. And out of 1,000 who achieve perfection, hardly even one knows me in truth. So that perfection means to come to the level of I am spirit, have a realization, I'm understanding of the service of Krishna, they become perfect, almost perfect. They have proper realization of who they are, what their duty is, but yet, they fall back. We've seen this in ISKCON. So many people have come. I remember I got initiated in Austin. There was 3 of us got initiated in that ceremony, and the other 2 are gone. Somehow I'm holding on by the mercy of Guru, Krishna, and Vaishnava. And somehow I'm holding on by their mercy. The other two are completely gone. Within a short time they were finished. Within a year or two they were gone. So it's very rare. It's very rare when somebody comes to this movement. It's rare still that we're going to stick with this movement through their whole life and become qualified to go back home, back to Godhead. So my dear devotees who are listening today, now you've come to Krishna consciousness. You've gotten a great opportunity to come to Krishna consciousness. Now understand it's like a razor's edge, you see. Walking in this pathway is like a very dangerous thing. A little slip, you can be finished. A razor's edge is a very dangerous thing. You have to be very careful when you're dealing with a razor, because you can easily cut yourself and even kill yourself if you cut in the wrong place. So you have to be very, very careful. This pathway is like a razor's edge. You have to be very, very cautious and very careful. You don't become diverted by the material energy. You become offensive toward Vaishnavas. Become lazy in following a regulated principle. These things can kill you. So we have some questions rolling in now. Let's see what we got. Kirtan Devi got. Due to past conditioning, the mind is impure. I feel weak. It's possible to chant. Get 100%, clean it 100%. If one endeavors with responsibility to control it. Yes, it is. It certainly is possible to become a pure devotee. It is possible, but we have to understand it. Sometimes it's easy going, sometimes it becomes very difficult. Sometimes I'm doing very nicely, I'm enlivened, I'm going on with my practice very nicely, but sometimes the previous dirt comes up, my previous sinful activities, that dirt comes up, my mind becomes fascinated by my previous sinful activities. So that pollution can come, and if one is not careful, when those dirts come up from previous sinful activities, and one is not careful, then we'll go back to those sinful activities. So when these sinful activities come up, remembrance of previous sinful activities come up, one should not be attracted by them, but should cut them off. It's like Jamunacharya Albandra. Previously he was a king enjoying so much sex pleasure with the palace maidens. As the kings would have harems, and they could enjoy sex life with the harems freely. So he became a great Vaishnava, a renounced person. Besides the memories of the sex pleasure of those beautiful girls in the palace would come up. So what he did, he said, my lips, Yadavari mama cheta Krishna padara vinde, nava nava rata dumya chanasya, tadavari bhattanari, sangame smaryanane, bhavati mukhu nishnivanam shab. While being engaged in the transcendental loving service of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna, sometimes if these memories come up, my lips curl with distaste and I spit it up. So when this previous contaminations and these thoughts of previous sinful activities come up again, to bewilder us and attract us, we have to say, we breathe them out. You're not welcome in my heart, you get out of here. You're not welcome. Get out of here, you rascal thought. So in this way, we're very determined, like a little sparrow, determined to drive the ocean, even though it seems impossible sometimes. We have so much dirt, so many sense gratificatory desires swimming around our hearts, like an ocean of them. So we're determined, now I'm going to get rid of this dirt, I'm going to get out of my heart, I'm going to become the pure devotee, I'm going to go through all that, I'm going to clean it all out. We're determined, I must become the pure devotee, I must become the pure devotee. I've taken the vow to follow these principles. I must follow them, even if my mind is attracted to break them. I must follow these principles. I must follow these principles. I'm determined, and keep pushing. Every time the mind goes away, bring it back. If we have that determination, we can become a pure devotee. Absolutely 100% pure devotee. So we had to be determined. We had to battle it out sometimes with all these sinful desires circling around the heart. We had to be very, very determined. I must become now the pure devotee of Krishna, because that's the only real pleasure. Why should I try to enjoy sense gratification, which is simply miserably? Sense gratification, what does it do? It forces my identifying with this material body. That's what sense gratification does. It brings me back to thinking, I'm this body, my enjoyment is to satisfy the senses of this body. So that's why we minimize sense enjoyment. As much as possible, just take enough to keep body and soul together. We minimize sense enjoyment. We maximize Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If you give yourself more sense enjoyment than you need to keep body and soul together, what are you doing? You're giving up this idea I'm a spirit soul, and you're reinforcing this idea that I am this material body, and my happiness is gratifying my senses. So therefore we have to be strict in following the regulated principles and take only as much sense enjoyment as required to keep body and soul together. In this way we can become free from identifying with this lump of bones and blood and all these different organs of the body. We can become free from identifying with them. I'm not this body, I'm Brahmasmi. So it's very, very important that we're strictly pulling our mind away from sense enjoyment and always bringing it back to the lotus feet of Krishna. Okay, let's see what we got else coming in here now. Prajna Nagpal. How can we control our senses in a positive or happy way instead of always thinking it as suppressing? It's a very important thing. Very important question. I may have a desire for sense enjoyment. See, this is a very nice verse in the Bhagavad Gita. Vishaya vinivartante nirahara shidehina rashavasam rasopyasra parang visonivartate. The embodied soul may be restricted in sense enjoyment, though the taste of sense objects remain, but ceasing such engagement by experiencing a higher taste is fixed in consciousness. So one may feel, how can I give up sense gratification? It's just artificial. I have this strong desire. I must gratify my senses. I must gratify my senses. How can I suppress it? I just feel like I'm suppressing my natural urges. You see? How is it possible to suppress your natural urges? It seems very natural. I have all these desires. How is it possible to suppress them? Well, as Krishna says, that you can get a higher taste. And one may think, well, I'm chanting, I'm following the principles, I don't taste anything, but I was tasting a lot of pleasure in sense gratification. I'm not tasting any pleasure in chanting Hare Krishna. But just remember this example of the jaundice patient. What is the cure for jaundice? Sugar candy. How does sugar candy taste when you have jaundice? It tastes horribly bitter. The doctor says, my dear jaundice patient, you must take sugar candy every day. But doctor, it tastes horrible. I can't stand it. Don't tell me to take sugar candy. I just want to spit it out. It tastes so bad. So the doctor says, no, my dear patient, this is the medicine that will cure you from your jaundice. So you must, even though it's bitter, you must take it. And you say, okay, I have faith in the doctor. He said he's cured many jaundice patients. I even talked to some person who had jaundice, and now he's enjoying sugar candy. So, all right, I'll trust you, my dear doctor, and the testimony of various people who were formerly having jaundice, and I'll do it. It's an austerity. Oh my goodness. All right, I'll take it. Can't stand it, but I'll take it anyway. You see. So in this way, the natural taste come back in due course of time. You become cured for jaundice, and now you really enjoy the sugar candy once again. So this chanting of the regulated principles, it seems very difficult, but my senses want to be gratified. Why should I suppress them? If you will take this process of chanting at least 16 months every day and avoiding illicit sex, meat, intoxication, and gambling, it seems very bitter at first. But I have desire for these things. How can I just put some faith in those who have gone through this transition, and in the scriptures, the Vedic scriptures, and the words of the great sadhus. Just put some faith and try it. As you do that, you'll find, wow, I'm actually getting a little taste in this kirtan and the prasadam and all these things. I'm getting some taste, and I'm not so attracted to sense gratification anymore. So the point is, you don't give up taste. Experiencing taste is the natural quality of a living being. So my body's tried to deny taste, but it doesn't work. They fall down eventually, even though they become very austere, because taste is acquired. They deny taste, so they come back to material sense gratification once again. Patanti they fall down again from Brahman. But devotees are in a much better position. We don't say give up taste, just get a better taste. You get a better taste. Instead of tasting sense gratification, taste Krishna consciousness. instead of tasting this nonsense food, taste prasadam. So what we do, we don't teach you to suppress taste. We teach you to get a higher taste. That's Krishna consciousness. Bhakti and Shila. Please enlighten, what does self-compassion mean in Krishna consciousness? How to exactly apply in life.
What is self what?
Huh?
Self what?
Self-compassion.
Oh.
It's an interesting term. I don't remember hearing it anymore, but I can understand the meaning. To be compassionate to yourself.
Satisfaction.
No, it says compassion. C-O-M-P-A-S-S-I-O-N. What does self-compassion mean in Krishna consciousness? It means to be kind to yourself. By engaging yourself in sense enjoyment, you're being cruel to yourself. By keeping yourself locked into bodily consciousness. If you're running after sense enjoyment, you become a dog, a camel, a camel, dog, ass, camel, or dogs, cogs, animals, a hog, a dog, camel, or an ass. They're similar situations. If you go after sense enjoyment, you're going to keep yourself. Guru Maharaji gave me a very nice example yesterday in the class. Those who enjoy sex pleasure, thinking, oh, it feels so good, it's so wonderful. Ah, it's wonderful, it's wonderful. They're compared to camels. The camel is chewing on the thorn and is cutting his tongue and he's thinking, oh, this tastes so good. He's sucking his own blood, thinking it tastes very nicely. And these people who want to pass semen and think, oh, it's so wonderful feeling to pass semen, especially with a woman, it feels so good, oh, it's wonderful. They don't realize that one drop of semen is 40 drops of blood. It says once one ejaculation is 1/3 to 1 teaspoon of semen. It's like 1/3 of a whole cup of blood they're giving up, you see. So they're thinking it's very pleasurable, and actually they're simply depleting their life energy. So in this way we have to understand that sense enjoyment is a road to hell. Basically, it's the royal road to hell. We have to give up this desire for sense enjoyment and come to the platform of Krishna consciousness. So be kind to yourself means make yourself into Krishna's pure devotee. Give up this desire for sense enjoyment, which is simply cruelty to yourself. Don't be cruel to yourself by running after sense enjoyment. Be kind to yourself by giving yourself the holy names of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Amala Puranadas. In the previous verse, 422.44, purport, we read that dara or wife is not permitted to be offered to the Brahmins. Now please understand how the person was offering his wife to Bhava Thakur for enjoyment. Well, he must not have been familiar with the Vedic principle. Okay, Lila Manjari. Is avoiding the tenant? Huh?
What was the question?
It's stated the Brahmin is not permitted to offer the dara or wife is not permitted to be offered to the Brahmins. So this man was offering his wife to Bhava Thakur. How he could do that? And I said he wasn't familiar with the principle.
Who didn't know?
And the man, Bhava followed the lady home, and the husband was going to offer the wife to Bhava Thakur for enjoyment.
I understand. So who did not know the Vedic principles?
The man who was offering his wife to Bhava Thakur.
No.
How do you consider that?
He knows.
Then why did he do it?
He did it because when he is a Shudra, so when the Brahmana asks for something, you offer him.
Okay, there we got an answer from Guru Maharaji. Okay. All right. Is avoiding the 10 offenses of the holy name enough to protect one from getting deviated from the goal of love of God? And yeah, you can avoid all the 10 offenses. It also means that one offense is disobey the order of the spiritual master. So when you follow the 10 offenses, you got everything covered. Mm-hmm. The 10 offenses covers everything.
What was the question?
Is avoiding the 10 offenses enough to achieve pure love of God? Shud and Nam and the pure love of God are non-different. The pure name, chanting the pure name, developing and being a pure devotee is non-different. Okay.
I would say let us put it this way. Instead of thinking of let me become a pure devotee, and I find it frustration, but let me become a human at least.
Very nice point from Guru Maharaj. Okay. How
I
do we...
wonder if they heard it.
They heard it.
Repeat that?
It's very clearly stated. I'm sure they heard it. How to be detached from unlimited materialistic desires by developing desire for pleasing Krishna and Guru. That's how. We have a desire. Desire is a natural function of a living being, so you have to replace your material desires with spiritual desires. That's key. Bhagavatam Das. Does Srimad Bhagavatam give any recommendation to be truthful and have integrity? The Srimad Bhagavatam teaches us to be engaged in pure devotional service and do what is actually beneficial for the devotees. Okay, let's see what we got here. Which canto should one read to kill ego and anger? Well, start with the first canto. If you follow the first canto perfectly, you got them covered. Every canto will help you to do that, but you should start with the first canto. We have started our readings with the first canto, but now we're going verse by verse, and we're up to the canto 4, chapter 22, text 57 today. We've gone verse by verse. Start with the first canto and follow it very carefully, and you'll be in good shape.
I have a question. If somebody is offensive, why don't we avoid them?
Somebody is offensive?
Why don't we avoid them?
Why don't we avoid them? Actually, if we can correct them, that can be done, but if not, we should avoid them.
If it becomes more offensive, then what is the point?
It depends if one is expert enough to give a powerful correction that stops their nonsense.
Sometimes.
Okay, Bhaktan Sananda. If we are doing only 16 rounds every day and attending Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita classes regularly, where do we find ourselves on the scale of bhakti? In spite of the fact that we're not initiated yet. It depends on how much taste you develop for hearing and chanting. So whatever degree of your level of advancement is how much taste you develop for hearing and chanting. That's your level of advancement. How much taste you have for hearing and chanting. Okay, let's see.
I have to say something. There is a saying in the Vedas, and that, as you said, we give them good answers, but somebody is offensive, then we give them the answers, the poison increases. If we feed them, the poisonous is snake. If you go on feeding them, they become more and more poisonous. Especially in the human case. So we should not think that they will rectify, but poison increases.
That's a good point. Bhaktan Sananda. Okay. Vila Manjari Devi Dasi. Yes, I could hear Gramati. Okay, that's it. Questions are finished. Anything else from Lithuania?
You came late, so there's not many. So wouldn't it be better to avoid the offensive people?
Well, one can try to rectify them. If it doesn't work, it's better to avoid them.
We have tried it, right? Haven't you? The snake-like people, poison increases. It's better.
I'm a follower of the old principle that if at first you don't succeed, try again. Maybe I'm a little naive, but that's my nature. That's my nature.
So that's your nature, then you don't hear from others. That's all I can say. Why do you want to increase their offenses?
Any other questions? There's nothing left. Nothing else. I can stop here, and everybody remember having the 11:30. We start the next lecture, right? 11:30.
Yes, 11:30.
Okay, that will be in 11:38.
3 hours.
Yeah, 3 hours and 20 minutes. we'll have a lecture from Guru Maharaji at the Sunday Feast program, 3 hours and 20 minutes from now. So just note down on your 3 hours and 20 minutes, tune back in for the Sunday Feast lecture from Grace Srimad Guru Maharaji. Thank you all very much. Oh, here we go. For anger, also, yes. First, if you follow the first canto very nicely, your anger will also go away.
What was the question?
He asked a question. Let's see how he worded it before. Let's see. He asked about reading the first canto was good enough for anger to go away, and something else. Let's see what it was.
And what was the question right now?
His anger. The question is, reading the first canto, train me how to get free from anger. And the answer is yes, it will. First, if you follow the first canto perfectly, you become a completely pure devotee of Krishna. So, Raghu Guruji, you're asking these questions. The answer is first canto will make you for Raghu Guruji, which canto should the point is, if you follow first canto, trivially all perfection will be yours. Get rid of all your nonsense. For detachment, for everything you want to achieve to become Krishna's pure devotee, the first canto will give you everything. It's all there in the first canto. It becomes reinforced in each canto. First canto contains everything. The second canto, each canto reinforces it and strengthens it even more and more and more. The first canto, if you follow it perfectly, you become absolutely perfect in every respect. Okay, we'll stop here. Thanks all for tuning in. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare